Welcome to the Dad Show Podcast, a show all about impacting, empowering, inspiring, and uplifting information to become a better dad, husband, man, and mentor. And now, your host, Ryan Ladd.
Welcome back to the Dad Show, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank y'all for being here, for joining us. I'm very excited today. I've got Mr. Tyler Brown in the studio with us. He's going to give us some great insight into his life and what he's got going on. He is the executive pastor and the generations pastor. Is that correct?
Yep, at the Grove Church.
At the Grove Church here in Kingston, Tennessee. Man, he's just been an inspiration in my life, and Tyler has done a great job of spreading the word and being in the community, man. And I'm really inspired by that aspect of you, and just enjoy what you're doing. So if you don't care, take just a minute, introduce yourself, open up, and let everybody know who they're listening to, man.
Yeah, like I said, my name is Tyler Brown, executive pastor at the church. But you've been an inspiration to me as well, man. I know when I first got here, I heard about y'all like pretty quick and the things that y'all were doing in the community, and I had no idea what the Kennedy Ladd Foundation was, but you see that everywhere. You see that little logo. I've got a hat with that. I should have wore it today.
Yeah, you should have.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking. And man, I kind of pressed into that just to see, because I'm all about community and, being in the community, and y'all were everywhere. And so getting to hear y'all's story and the way you talk about your kids, man, it's been inspiration to me as well. So I want to tell you that too first.
I appreciate that.
But yeah, so I'm generations pastor at the Grove. So I deal with students, deal with really all the different ministries, age group ministries of the church, and really help out in different ways. Love getting to preach, love being in this community. Been up here for about 10 years now. So yeah.
So you say been here. All right, where are you from originally?
So I'm originally from right outside Nashville, Hendersonville, Tennessee.
All right.
Yeah.
I got a ticket there one time.
Did you? My bad. Might have known them. Just north of Nashville is where we're at, yeah.
Okay.
So, grew up on a 50-acre farm with my whole family.
Wow.
Yeah. My mom and my granddad and my meemaw, they had 5 kids. And so 4 of them all lived on the farm, 50-acre farm. And then one of them, the oldest, lived like a mile away. So we have a big family.
Wow. And are they still there?
Yeah, everybody's still there. Really, my cousins, I have like 30-something cousins probably. All of them are still around that area. I was like the first one to move off, and I only moved like 2 hours away, but
I got you.
Still, it was different.
I hear you.
That was tough though.
You grew up on a farm, man.
I did. Yeah. I looked like it, right?
Farm hand and everything else, strong?
We had cows, we had cattle, we had a bull, we had chickens at one time, had a little garden. We did have cattle, and we did beef. So when I say we did it, there was people that did it. I would cut the grass. I remember my granddad got a tractor that had the enclosed and had AC in it because he was getting older. So I rode that a lot. Yeah, I rode that a lot. I could do it,
Yeah, I got
I'd have to do stuff every so often, but I like basketball, so I was inside a lot.
I understand.
Yeah.
So you went to high school there. You played basketball, I assume, through any other sports through high school or anything?
Yeah, I played a bunch of different sports. Really, I played baseball. I went up and stopped playing baseball after my freshman year. Baseball's a long season, right? And I really like basketball and football. Our football team was pretty good, so I stopped doing that too. Didn't want to do that because it cuts into basketball season.
Exactly.
And so I ran cross country for a minute. I did tennis for a couple of years. My junior and senior year, I think I did tennis. Wow. And then played basketball, yeah.
Dude, that hurts my ankles to think about tennis, man.
I like it. We did like an all sports challenge for basketball preseason, and we went out and played tennis, and the girls basketball coach was the tennis coach. And so he was like, hey, I need you to come play.
Wow.
All right. One of my friends played. He was a pastor too. And so I got out there and played with them, and it was fun. I like it.
Heck yeah.
Yep.
How was your childhood? You're in the ministry now. Was that from bringing up, or, how did that happen?
I grew up in, my family they're very tight knit, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a bunch of it. There's probably one of my best friends is my cousin, and he has 3 brothers. 2 of them are twins that are my brother's age. And I was a senior, he was a junior, and my brother and the twins were freshmen. So we were all in high school at the same time. And then I have another cousin who lives on the farm, a girl who was in high school at the same time. So when I was the first one to drive, like in that little group, we had older cousins too.
Yeah.
So I'd roll up in my Maxima, and we'd roll about 6-7 deep in that Maxima going to school because it was probably 5 minutes down the road.
Oh yeah, could have walked instead of drove.
Yeah,
right?
So, but I was cool, I had a Maxima, I had a drive. So super close family, man. But we went to church together. My granddad actually helped start a church with. I mean, there's other people involved in it, but so anytime the doors were open at church, we were there. So grew up going to church, doing all the different things. RAs, Warrior Ambassadors, remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Oh
remember
yeah,
that.
come on,
Having
I was an
the
RA.
vest and
Yeah,
all
oh yeah.
all the
little
patches
derby
and
cars and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, so I did that. I did Bible drills, all those different things. Went youth. When I got a little older, I was 16 or 17. I was going into my senior year of high school, and Long Hollow is a church that I came from working at, and it had blown up. It had gotten just exploded. Good pastor came in, good ministry leaders that were there. So I was going over there quite a bit and helping out. But at my home church, we had different youth pastors coming and going. And going into my senior year, there was a church camp that my church was doing in Covenant College right outside Chattanooga. And I didn't want to go. Just being honest, because it was with that church and I knew the setup was going to be, and I was already going to church camp with Long Hollow. And, but my youth pastor that just got there, he's like, I need you to come. Like, you're my leader. Like, if you come, there'll be other people come. I need you to come. So I was playing basketball that weekend. I wound up driving up there, with my mom. Well, she drove, but I had to drive up the mountain. She's afraid of heights. And so I get up there and, man, the whole camp, even at camp. So one of my friends that did go, I was like, let's mess around. Cause we split off into different groups. So it was like me and this guy named Miles. And he'll probably listen to this too. And some
Sorry, Miles.
mixed with other churches, right?
Yeah.
And so they put us in groups with like random leaders. And so Miles the whole week acted like he couldn't speak to a leader, like he was so shy he wouldn't. So anytime they would ask a question to him, he would like lean over my ear and just go, pss, 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 and I would just make something up that he said, like all week. And then like there was a sports camp too. So like the last day we were playing soccer, and that was his sport. And he's yelling, talking, telling people where to go and stuff. And I'll never forget, the small group leader went up to his mom and my mom and said, I really think I got to him. Like, you see how open he's being, how loud he's being. And my mom and his mom had no idea what she was talking about, that she had like really worked hard on him. And so we got in trouble for that one. But at that church camp, the pastor did call to ministry. And I remember sitting there. I can tell you exactly where I was, like the seat I was sitting in, like I could see it vividly.
Wow.
And he asked the people who felt called to ministry to stand up. And I couldn't help it. I just stood up. And I remember Miles, he's like, what are you doing? There's another guy to Jared, and he was on this side, Miles on this side. Miles was like, what are you doing? Sit down. I was like, I can't. And he told him to come down. I started walking down. I went out the right side on the far of the wall, and I walked down front, and he was like, dude, get back here. You don't know what you're doing, And I felt called to ministry. That's where it was. I don't know why. I just felt like God was tugging on my heart. So my whole senior year, like that's where my mind was. Mm-hmm. Started really getting involved at Long Hollow, really getting involved at my church, like really trying to pour in and help. Any Bible study I could do, I would do it. And then I went to college to play ball at Swanee. And my freshman year, my grandfather passed away. And he was super influential in my life. Just strong spiritual leader, like held the family together. He was that guy.
The rock, yeah.
And shortly after that, my dad and my mom got divorced. And that was awful.
Yep.
I couldn't understand why at the time, So I spent a season, probably about a year and a half, where I just ran. I did what I wanted to do. Live for me. Making wrong decision after wrong decision after wrong decision. Until there's a guy by the name of Gordon Baines. And you can jump in whenever. I'm just talking.
No, you're good. Roll with it. I'm intrigued, man.
He came up to Swanee. He was a big outdoors guy. And Swanee's on top of a mountain. I don't know if you've ever been up there.
I have been.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Yes, right? It is.
And he wanted to walk the trails. I'm like, yeah, come on up. And I was, I knew what to say. Like, I knew the words to say.
Yeah.
So, back home, I could put on the face and be like, I'm still a good Christian boy,
Oh, yeah.
Get back to Swanee. I'm like, let's roll. I like this. And he saw right through it. And I remember he quoted 2 scriptures to me. James 1, verse 2, consider it pure joy, my brothers, when you face trials of many kinds. Testing your faith produces perseverance. And I wanted to punch him in the face. I'm like, I'm not happy. There's no joy right now. I'm mad.
Yeah.
I'm mad that my grandfather's not here. I'm mad that my mom and dad are divorced. I'm mad. And then he quoted Romans 8:28. God works all things to the good of those who are called according to his purpose. And I was like, I don't know how he can make this work for his good, And shortly after that, I broke. Like it was probably 2 nights later, I was praying. I'd put my Bible away, man. I'd stop praying because I felt like if I prayed, God was just going to get me, convict me.
Exactly.
And a couple of nights later, I just broke down, called my dad and forgave him. He was working nights at the time. And our relationship's fantastic now, but that time it was hurt. Called my brother because I was the oldest of my brother and sister, and asked for forgiveness to them because I wasn't there for them, during that little span of running. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, man, I don't know if I can still do ministry, at that question. Like, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
And I get a call after during my junior year, and it was from one of my buddies who I play tennis with, actually. He's in Colorado. He's in Colorado now, pastoring church, planting church. But he said, what are you doing this summer? I was like, I don't know, playing ball, on a pro-am, working. He goes, nah, you're not doing that. You're working at the church. I'm not working at the church. You got to apply for that. You got to there's a lot of people that apply for it. I'm not going to get in, all this stuff. And he goes, nah, you're working. He said, I'll call you back in 2 weeks. Call me back in 2 weeks. What are you doing this summer? Playing ball, working out. He goes, no, you're not. You're coming to the church to work. And so I finally said, all right, I'm coming to church to work. Yeah. And man, I came, first time I ever spoke was to a group of about 900 students, which was kind of cool. It was probably a train wreck, honestly, like my first time speaking. But yeah, man, ever since then, that was it.
So I want to dissect a couple of things there. It seems like, and I'm guilty of this as well. Not guilty of it, just experienced it. You were growing closer to God. You'd felt called to the ministry. Mm-hmm. And whenever you feel that, whenever you feel like you're so close to God and you're getting closer to him, but yet it just seems like the devil starts beating down your door harder and harder, trying to get you, like you said, your grandfather passed away, your parents divorced, and, you want to just sit back and be like, why? I'm trying to grow close to you. Why are you beating me down? You know what I mean? And like you want to turn away from God. You want to start doing the worldly things and pleasing everybody. And that's so easy to do. But I want to kind of hit on your grandfather as well while we're on this topic. Like you said, he was a big influential in your life. Oh yeah. So what is some of the things that he influenced? And then we'll dissect more into what you just talked about. But I want to hit on that while we're there.
So the first thing, man, he was just always there and always working. Like he worked extremely hard for my family. For my whole family, with the cattle, with the farm, with the things that he did early in life to set him up to be successful, but not only for himself and my meemaw, but for the whole family. And I love that. I'm a big family guy. I love my family.
I got you.
Love them. We ride or die, we do everything together. Yeah. We'd cram in their house. They had the smallest house on the farm, but we'd cram in there on Christmas, Thanksgiving, all the things. Because he built that, So that's one of them. Another one is he's the first person that told me that I'm not good at singing. Everybody else lied to me, all growing up. So he finally told me.
So he's an honest man.
You're not good. He actually said he'd sit in his chair. We called it Granddaddy's chair. He'd sit there and we'd be in the back room, me and the cousins and stuff, my brother. And he'd be like, hey, turn that racket off, because I was singing. I was like, dang, Granddaddy. He goes, it's not good. And so like in church, the church plays or whatever, I get the speaking parts, but I would never get the music parts. Exactly. I didn't know why till then.
Now you know.
Yeah, he told me. And I got a prayer. It's out on a hard drive at my house now. It was on my old phone, of him praying. And it was, so good. He was good, man. Always at church. Made sure we were all at church. If one of the family missed church, they'd get in the call from Granddaddy, because we'd all go eat after. So it was stuff we did. Exactly. He was good at keeping everybody together, keeping everybody moving forward, thinking ahead. That's just who he was.
So what's one thing that you feel like he instilled in you that is?
I got you something good.
Go ahead if you get.
No, it goes with that question.
Okay. Yeah, that he instilled in you to be a better father, to be a better husband,
Okay.
to your wife and kids?
So, okay. I'm going to tell you this story first, and then I'm going to answer some other questions.
Go ahead. Yeah.
When I was a kid, we'd go there. We'd go to my mom and granddad's house every day. Me, my brother, my sister, and Hannah, my other cousin. Reese, Ryan, and Rob, and Rex, their mom, they had 4 kids. Those are the ones I was talking about, me and my friends. She'd pick us up, take us to my mom and granddaddy's house. We'd be there from 3:30 to 5, whatever. So he has like 3 or 4 barns, and my house was like right down behind theirs. Well, one of their barns that they had a bunch of tools hanging up on the right side. And we could do whatever. We had the whole farm, 50 acres. But there were a couple of rules, right? We couldn't go on that side of the tractor in that shed because it had a bunch of the tools, like the scythe and a bunch of those tools hanging up. If you hit them, knocked down. We were little. And I remember playing with my brother, and my brother's a rule follower. Just boom, following the rules. And I'm not. Like, I just push the boundaries a little bit. So we're playing hide and go seek, whatever. And I went on that side because I knew he wouldn't come over there. And my granddad was outside, I guess, and I hit those tools running through. And those tools, just boom, 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 boom. And I froze. I just froze standing there. And my granddad comes running up. I was probably in elementary school. I was running up. And he gets down on his knees, and I'm like, I'm in trouble, And he wraps me up. And I'm crying. I'm like, I'm sorry, Granddad. I think I'm about to be in trouble.
Yeah.
He goes, I don't care about any of that. I care about you.
Wow.
I just want you to be okay. Are you okay? You're good, right? Never spoke of it again. Never. He showed me just that grace and mercy he showed me in there. Like, I was wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm the one that screwed all this stuff up. Could have got hurt or whatever, but all he did was show me grace in that.
Wow.
Yeah. So
Brings
that's
chills to me right now.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. So that's one huge thing.
almost like he was hitting his knees, thanking God that you were okay instead of, worrying about busting your butt.
Yeah. He just wanted to make sure I was okay.
Yeah.
I never got in trouble for that. It was just that grace and mercy. I love it. Just the way he loved the family, the way he loved my meemaw, the way he took care of her. Just passing that down onto me, the way he was at church, the way he made sure people were at church, the way he put God first.
Yeah.
He has an old truck that I'll probably get one day. My mom has it now. It's an old Ford truck, 2-door. He'd take me to Dairy Queen all the time. Like, I remember it, And I don't know why I would go to Dairy Queen all the time. Just get an ice cream cone. That's it.
That's kind of the rock in my life is my grandfather as well, man. And he's still living. Thank the good Lord. He's 93 years old. He goes and works out 2 days a week.
Dang.
But the same way, like, he loved my grandmother like no other. He took care of her. Like, my grandmother, I don't even think she knew how to pump gas because, he did everything for her and took care of her same way. Like, in the community, he's out helping no matter what. He told me one day I was helping a buddy, and he's like, man, that's the best thing that you can do in your life is help somebody.
Yeah.
No matter what, as long as you help somebody, you're good. Just continue to help every day. And I'm with you 100% because my grandfather is my rock. Now, I love my dad. Don't get me wrong. But he retired at a young age, and they lived like almost, same concept, like right next door. So all I had to do was go over the railroad tracks down to Granny and Papa's. And I went down there. I'd even played sick from school just so I go hang out with Granny and Papa all day.
They were right up our hill. So like we had a little trail that that he put together that we just literally walked right there in his backyard. And we talk about this a lot at like Thanksgiving and Christmas stuff. He used to pay us $1 a piece to clear off the carport when it got warm, to put the stuff up when $1. I'm like a senior in high school getting paid $1, to do this. I'd do anything to do that for $1 again. You know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah. That's awesome. Let's kind of go back to the divorce.
Yep.
Like, do you feel like it was everything together? Like your grandfather passing away, your parents getting divorced, that caused you to turn? Or do you feel like that one crushed you more than the other? And
I think I'd say probably the divorce affected me more.
Mm-hmm.
It happened after. I think I could always go to my mom and granddaddy, like if I had something, if I needed advice, I'd go up there. My mom would make me, Cheerios, sugar and milk with extra sugar, yellow cake with no icing. Like,
exactly.
She knew what to do. Banana pudding. Like,
oh yeah.
She.
Oh gosh, I love my grandmother's banana pudding.
Yeah.
Man.
Come on.
Wow.
So good. So she she would take care of me that way. My granddad, though, he would speak truth to me, and so I didn't have that to go to. Plus, I was off at college. I was playing basketball. It was right before or right when season had started. So I was in the thick of that. And I knew it was coming,
Yeah.
My dad had been wanting, I knew he was trying to talk with me, multiple times, like in the past little while, and I avoided it, like on purpose.
Yeah.
He was having an affair with my mom. And I didn't know to what extent or whatever, but, so I had avoided it, and he finally had me it was actually at my mom's house. We were working on something in the back bathroom, and he told me he was going to live with my aunt and his sister. And I was mad, man. I literally stood up, walked through the house. There's people over. I don't remember what we were doing. There's people over, and I got in my car and drove back to Swanee. That was the first time I'd ever drank or done anything, that night. And man, I was
that was
mad.
the straw that broke the camel's back there.
Yeah, that moment. I was angry at him.
My parents divorced after, I think, 32 years of marriage as well. And it's like, man, my aspect and what I seen was my parents had poured so much into us, my brother and I, through our lives that, and it was literally like 6 months to a year after I moved out of the house that they were divorced because they had, lost each other.
Yeah.
And taking care of my brother and I, they had lost their relationship.
Yeah.
I remember back at my old church, the preacher was talking about, like, love your kids, but your kids are going to grow up.
Yeah.
They're going to leave.
On, right. Yeah.
Like, be sure you nurture your relationship, whether your husband, your wife, because they're not going to leave.
Yeah.
They're there unless, obviously a divorce happens or something like that. And, like, that's one thing that I think that the viewers can take home today is that, later on in life, like, it's still, I can see it in your face. Like, it still affects you.
Oh yeah.
Today.
No, yeah.
And that people out here that, what is it? 52% of people get divorced. Like, once you get married, you're already at, decreased odds of making it. And, like, people need to realize that, yes, it's about me and you getting married, but whenever you have kids and you bring that into the mix, like, it is a lifelong decision that affects people for more than just a year,
And it affects, like, so I think a lot of it probably had to do with that, and they were young and now looking back, like, you see it different, right? Than when you're in it, when you're living it. When I was a kid, I didn't know anything,
Exactly.
Our relationships have been, go Taco Bell, that's been about it, so let's go to prom together, so looking back now, you see both sides and different things that go on just in life, but, it affected me, like, with my relationships, with my different girlfriends before I met my wife, and even with my wife too, like, you have that in the back of your mind, like, not making the same decisions or doing something differently. So one thing that I do every single day, except for on Tuesdays and Fridays, because I get up and play basketball at 5:30, is I pray for my wife. She's better than me, so she wakes up at like 5:30 every day, 5 every day, and works out and does her quiet time, all that stuff. When she goes to leave for school, she's a teacher. She leaves about 7 o'clock. She'll come over, and that's when I wake up, and I pray over her, and then I get up and do my quiet time and stuff before I get the other kid ready.
That's so awesome.
So I pray over every single day. And I don't, if I miss it or something happens, like, you can tell, Now, there's some mornings where, like, there's one morning where I was praying for our dishwasher. She goes, "Is our dishwasher messed up?" I was like, "No," because I was still out of it. I was still asleep. But that time is important, important to me.
And so I think that's one of the sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there at all, but I think that's one of the strongest bonds that you can have in your marriage is praying together.
Yeah.
Being present with each other during prayer time. Even if I said this on a podcast a while back, that even if you're not speaking out loud, just being next to each other, with your hand on each other, however, and praying, your marriage will just absolutely start. Now the devil's going to come attacking, obviously, but man, I unfortunately, I didn't experience that until my kids, till my daughter was diagnosed with her rare disease. And then my wife and I would go in there and we would pray over her while she was in her crib and, at the hospital and any treatments and stuff like that. And then that's whenever we started praying together and, spending that time together and really growing. It's so powerful, man. It's so, and I think that's awesome. Y'all do that.
And your kids see that too, right?
Yeah.
Like now it makes my heart happy, but if we ever start eating, we start doing something and we forgot to pray, Walker will call us out. Like he'll say, "Hey, nope, we didn't pray," and he'll get mad about it. And I like that, or nighttime, like me and Abby kind of who's taking him to bed. He comes in our bed before he goes to bed. And like one night, Abby took him up to bed and didn't pray that night. And he was telling her the next morning to me, like, "Mama didn't pray last night." I was like, "Oh, it's fun."
Naughty.
Yeah. So they see that too, man. And they, it's an impact on them.
Lincoln likes to lead prayer at dinner. Like
he'll
say the blessing
at the golf trip, and my dad was crying like a baby, man.
Yeah, he's gotten so that started going off on a rabbit hole here, but he went to a birthday party, and the mom it wasn't even his birthday party. We was at another house, and the mom's like, "Okay, pizza's here. I'm gonna bless the food." And Lincoln raised his hand and said, "Can I bless the food?" and so he said the prayer, and everybody was like, "That was awesome, buddy. Good job," and everything like that. And so now, like at most of our events, and shameless plug, go to kennedylad.org and check out the Kennedy Ladd Foundation. We have a nonprofit raising funds for research for a cure for MPS I Hurler syndrome, which is what both of our kids have. But we have multiple events throughout the year, and we've got sound systems set up with microphones and stuff of that nature. And mostly he's starting to get a little shy now. He won't really do it as much. Yeah. But he'll get up and say the prayer. What happens,
like, because Walker at first he's do whatever. Now he's starting to get a little more shy. I'm like, I don't want you to get shy.
Exactly. Yeah.
I love that.
That's the way I am. I'm like, no, I want you, because people hear adults pray every single day.
Yeah.
Like if you're on social media, if you're at church, or you see adults pray for the most part. It's getting less these days, unfortunately. But when you see a kid pray, man, like
it's different.
It is different. Like you almost, like they've almost got a direct line to Jesus that, like they're talking to God.
Oh yeah.
No question. And God's listening for sure. So
it says all through Scripture, have childlike faith, right? Like the way my son believes in God, that's how we should all believe in God like him, like the way he thinks about it.
I agree.
So yeah, I wish they'd keep that because it'd change the world probably.
I wish. I'm with you. I don't want him no, don't get shy. Yeah. Continue what you're doing, buddy, because you're doing big things, and you're going to continue to do big things.
Absolutely.
So, spoiler alert, you've got 2 kids. We moved on into that. Yeah. Walker and Kacen, and then your wife Abby. So did you meet Abby back home on the farm, or?
No, I met her up here. So when I moved up here, I actually had a girlfriend when I first moved up here. And I went on 2 mission trips back to back. And I try to pray, about everything, and I try to really live my life by faith, like live in faith. And if I feel like I'm supposed to do it, I try to do it. If I don't feel like I'm supposed to do it, I try not to, like I really try to be tender to that. And, something was off. And so I was going to 2 mission trips back and back. So I actually broke up with my girlfriend, or stopped. I said, I need to focus on God right here. And so I went on 2 mission trips. And after those mission trips, I was like, okay, I broke up with my current girlfriend. And as I was going through ministry and doing stuff, I saw Abby, my wife, the way she worked on mission trips and the way she lived her life and the way she cared for people and loved on people. And I was smitten immediately, And so, I started talking to her. I called her dad, actually, and I was like, hey, I want to ask your daughter out on a date. I was 20. How old am I? 33. I was 23, I guess. 24.
You called just to ask to go on a date?
I did.
Wow.
I did. Yes, I called. And I think he probably, I I guess we'd kind of went on like some hangout dates, but like that, go on official date. I called him, to ask him. She was coming back in. She was, it was the end of her, I can't remember exactly when it was. She had her student teaching to go basically. And so I asked to go on a date with her, if he'd be okay with that. He's a deacon at the church too, so he said, yeah. So I took her to Big Ed's and we went, there's like some trails over there. So we went hiking, which was terrible. I'm so dumb. Like she was all dressed up, she had like but we went hiking. And then there's another trail.
Hold up.
Like
you went. So for those that don't know, Big Ed's is a big pizza place.
Yeah.
And so you went and filled up on pizza.
Yeah, we ate too.
And then went hiking.
There's some trails over there, yeah. And there's a trail.
You were smitten for this girl. She had you crazy, didn't she?
Yes, for sure. There's a trail like up the hill. And I said, you think that connects? She said, I don't know. I was like, you won't go up there. And she starts walking up there. So I just followed her. So we're going to the trail and we get lost. And now it's dark.
Oh, wow.
And so we finally come out at this person's house. Like there's like a stable with horses. We crawl through a fence. We finally find our car. Like that was our first date. We got lost on our first date. Embarrassing. But man, I was ready to marry her, like I knew immediately. December 9th is when I asked her to marry me. I think, December, the week before that, is when I asked her dad, if I could marry her. And I was so nervous. I didn't sleep like at all that night, but, so December 9th, I know is when I asked her to marry me at the church.
So I'm kind of curious because whenever I went and asked my wife's dad, I didn't ask for to go on a date, but I asked, for a hand in marriage. And dude, I bet you I talked about 5,000 topics for probably 3 hours before I ever got the courage, to ask him, hey, I'm thinking about asking your daughter to marry. Can I? So that was your comment because mine was long and off topic forever. And then I was like, hey, can I ask your daughter to marry me?
So looking at it now, it's like, I don't know why I was as nervous as I was, because we have a great relationship. We had a great relationship before this. But I told him, I texted him or I called him, I can't remember, on Saturday. And I said, hey, can I come and meet with you at 6:00 tomorrow morning? It was a Sunday morning. And he was like, yeah. So, I think he knew, I know he knew because my mother-in-law was at the door waiting for it to be over so he could see the ring. She could see the ring, So he knew. And so, my father-in-law's an awesome man. I don't know if you met him, Mike Walker.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah.
So I sat down with him. He's not a man of a ton of words, right?
Yeah.
And so I said, I had everything rehearsed in my head, like how I was going to go, and we get there and he's like, you want some coffee? And he drinks it black. And I was like, yeah, I'll take it black. I did not take it black at the time. Now I can drink it black. At the time, I didn't.
I can't drink it at all, man. I've tried to drink it every way to Sunday, and I can't drink. I love the smell of it, but I can't drink it.
Smells so good. Yeah.
That's why I've got an energy drink sitting here.
So the conversation probably took about 5 minutes, And so I talked to him, and he wanted to make sure she finished up her student teaching and stuff. I was like, yeah, for sure. Like she got to work, she got to make that money too.
Oh yeah.
We're pastor, bro. No, it was good. It was a quick conversation, but he knew my heart. Like I'd spent so much time over there. Yeah, it was good.
Like you said, when you just know,
It was May. I remember it was May now when I called her dad and asked her. And then December, so we dated for 7 months before I asked her to marry me. Like I knew.
Wow, yeah.
And honestly, I would have got married like then, but we did it on the hottest day in America, on July 30th.
Wow.
And I remember that because she changed her email address to whatever at 730@gmail.com. And when she told me her email address, I was like, oh, you chose that because that's the house number of the street I grew up on. She goes, 730 Happy Hollow Road. She goes, are you serious? I was like, no, and then now I remember. So that's how I remember my anniversary. It's 730 because that's the street I grew up on.
Luckily, my wife made ours easy, 9/10/11.
Oh,
September
that's
10th, 2011. Yeah, so I can, but then I get twisted up. I'm like, was it 8, 9, 10? But so you're married. How old are your kids now?
I got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old.
4-year-old and a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
Man, I want to go back to those days so bad.
Like this time, I asked Walker the other day. I mean, he thinks I'm his best friend, right?
Yeah.
And I want him to think that. And I'm, like if he does something wrong or something, he's like, "Am I still your best friend?" I'm like, "Yeah, dude, come on,"
That'll never change, bro.
Yeah. He said, I asked him the other day, I was like, "You gonna live with me forever, me and your mom?" He said, "Yeah." I was like, "All right, cool. I'm holding you to that," No, it's such a fun age. Man, they're so different too.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I didn't think they'd be like they're total opposites.
So is one wild, one's chill? Like
Walker is sweet, chill, wants to, hold my hand, cuddle, wants to not go crazy, hold the door for people, like super sweet. My other kid will rip your face off, Now he can be sweet too, but man, he's in his own world, man.
Yeah.
Kacen.
And he's 2, is that right?
He's 2.
Yep.
Yeah. He wants to do everything his brother can do. And so, which is a problem because Walker's 4,
Exactly, yeah.
So Walker will climb up on this table. I'm like, "Don't do that." And then next thing you know, Kacen. I'm like, "That's why you can't do that."
I'm the baby, so I can reason with that. My brother's 5 years older than I am, so I can, I want to do everything that.
Yeah. And he's probably the one who got in trouble all the time.
I'm questionable, but
I'm the oldest, bro. I know. I got you.
I am the baby, so I do get away with a lot more. But no, man, I Kennedy is now 10 and Lincoln's 7, and we spent their childhood, like their baby phase, if you will, toddler phase, like for the most part in the hospital and traveling back and forth. And it's like, I enjoyed it, even though he was in the hospital setting, like together. But man, I want to go back to I just want to be home with them and enjoy that time,
because at that age, man, they don't care where they're at.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
They care that you're there.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of dads, young dads, and I'm guilty of this too, man. I can get so busy to where I miss something, or I've said yes to so many different things where my kids are the one taking the punishment of that. Yeah. My kids could care less where they just want to be with me.
Yeah.
So like a lot of times I'll say yes something and I'll just bring my kids with me, because they don't care as long as I'm there with them. Like they want to be where I am.
But that's so hard too, sorry, I need my energy drink here.
Too, yeah.
But that's so hard too, because I brought it up to Kennedy and Lincoln the other day. Again, I'm chasing another rabbit, but do you all like us doing events? Do you enjoy we're doing it to try and raise money and awareness, to find a cure for your disease. But do you enjoy it? Because, putting on an event is a lot.
It's a lot.
And,
a lot of hours,
and it's so hard, it's one of those battles within that you're doing it for them. You're doing it for the correct reasons, 100%. But at the end of the day, whenever you're there, even though they're in the presence with you, your mind is, we're doing something else and working over here, and they're there with us. Luckily, their answer was that they really enjoy the events. It's like their most fun times of the year and they love it. But man, I feel so guilty as a dad that I know I'm doing, like I said, everything for the right reasons, but I just feel like it's taken so much time away from my kids. And so, you going back to no matter what you're doing, you take your kids with you because they're there. But I just do you deal with that same battle too?
Yeah. So I had to go to, it's just a quick example. I had to go to the hospital one night. I can't remember where we were, but I had Walker with me, and, I didn't know I was going to have to go to the hospital. There's somebody that just passed away or was about to pass away. And so I got a phone call, and so me and Philip went over there, and we were at separate places. So I had Walker with me, and he had Mahala with him, his daughter. And so the whole time I was like, "Hey, Walker, I'm going to this hospital. Mahala's going to sit in here with you." And I tried to explain to him why, because that's important too, that I want my boys to not only see me loving them that way, and they're going to know that I love them because I'm a words of affirmation and a physical touch guy.
That's me. 100%.
Yes, all day. And my wife is the opposite. So we're working on that. I'm just kidding. Yeah. She's acts of service and quality time.
Yes.
So they know, they're going to know that I love them. They're going to know that I care for them. They're going to know that I'll fight for them. They'll know that. But I want them to see that I don't just do it for them. I love these people too, and I want to care for these people too, and how to be a good friend to people, how to be a good pastor, because I mean, I hope they become doctors or whatever they want to become.
Exactly.
Playing the NBA. But I want them to see, the work ethic too, and me going but so I was explaining to him what I was doing there for. And then we were leaving. He was like, this is what you do. Like, this is what I have to do this. I was like, yeah, I'm a pastor. And he understands what that means. And he goes, I was like, am I going to be a pastor too? I was like, well, you can be whatever you want it to be,
Yeah.
He goes, what if I'm a doctor? I said, it's probably a good call, And then it went to astronaut, and then it went to, he wants to be one of the characters that dresses up at Disney World. So, who knows? It's wide open.
Sky's
but
the limit,
whatever he
baby.
wants, that's another thing. Like, I think people put a lot of pressure on what they, like, I want my kids to play basketball.
Yeah.
But my dad was hard on me, which I'm thankful for in the sense of it got me as good as I am. But man, I want my kids to have fun. I want my kids to do what they want to do and enjoy it.
Yeah,
Love
exactly.
it,
Not be a job and, like feel like it's work. And I mean, there's so many parents that are guilty of, I feel like, living their life vicariously through their child.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so they push them into certain avenues and, like, no, you can't do this. You can't. And like, not to be cliche or anything, I'm just thankful my kids are alive and able to walk and run. So whatever they want to do, I'm like, go do it. Like 100%, whatever you want to do.
When Kennedy threw that first pitch out at softball, bro, that was awesome.
It was.
That was awesome.
Man, when she stood up and hit the ball,
she threw it twice too. That was awesome.
Well, she didn't. We didn't coach her on that either. She
was pumped. She got up there and she launched it.
Yeah,
it was
she
awesome.
just picked the ball up, stood up out of her stroller, and threw it.
I think I was still reading. That was awesome though.
Yeah, she and so she stood up then and done that, and then so that whole story is crazy and pretty inspirational itself, man. That she I'm gonna get comfortable if you're out with it. She did, like, we didn't think she wanted to play softball. Like, she's starting to get to that age. She's more self-conscious about like her body image, and there's certain times she don't want to wear her braces on her legs because being around certain people and just that whole public image kind of deal. And so we didn't even, she just got out of for those that don't know, she just got out of double hip, double knee, double ankle, and Achilles tendon release surgery. She had that in November, so this league is rolling around April, May-ish time frame. And it was like, we didn't even think about her playing softball. And she rolls up and she's like, hey, did you sign me up for softball? And we were like, babe, like, I don't know how it's going to work. Like, she's starting to get up in age. Like I said, she's 10 now. And luckily they let her play in the 8 and under league. So it's still coach pitch. And, but I was just like, I don't know how it looks. I didn't think that you wanted to play. Like, we'll have to have cause she was still in a wheelchair at this time. Like, I don't know what we're going to do, like how we're going to make this work. And, I was like, do you want to play? Like, is that what you're wanting to play? And, cause I thought she may just want to, like go hang out on the bench or, just go in the dugout with the girls or whatever. And she's like, no, I want to play.
Come on.
And, and I was like, okay, we'll try to figure it out. And so literally that was the devil saying like, no, like, cause me and Allie talked about it and we we're just like, cause even though it's rec league, people are still getting competitive. Yeah. Like, we just didn't want to have to, put out that persona and ask, hey, can you make an exception for her? And so Allie and I was like, sorry, babe, like, we'll try next year. Whenever you're up, you're walking, you're running, like, we'll try. And I know that sounds harsh, but there was, other stuff working. Like, she was barely walking. Like, we're not talking like somebody that could walk across the room. Like, she could barely stand up and sit there for a minute. And so, Allie and her mom was like,
I mean, she was still in the wheelchair.
Yeah, she was still in the wheelchair. Yeah. So it's not like she could, what I mean? Like, there was a lot of decision making that went into this, and we just broke it to her like, babe, I'm sorry. It's just not going to work this year. Like, we'll try next year. And I don't remember the time frame, but I'm going to say like within an hour, the director calls Allie and was like, hey, I noticed you didn't sign Kennedy up for softball. Like, and Allie's like, I'm just going to talk out loud and be honest. Like, this is our feelings. And she said, I don't care. You sign her up for softball. We'll make it work. And
God showed you ain't in control.
exactly. You ain't going to make my decision.
Yeah.
And so we did. It was like, babe, you sure you want, like, this is how it's going to work.
Yeah.
More than likely, you're going to go on the field. I'll push you on your wheelchair out in the field. That's where you'll stay. Like, if ball's hit to you, you'll ground it and you'll throw it as good as you could. Whenever you go to bat, like, I'll push you up in your wheelchair. You'll stand up. You'll hit. We'll have somebody run for you. Like, is this what you want to do? And 100%, man. She was like, heck yeah, I want to do it. I want to play. And so
that's so awesome.
She did it. And man, I there's so many, that's just God showing out, dude.
For sure.
You know, because there's been so many, just like you saying, like her standing up and throwing that pitch, is how inspirational, how emotional it was. There's been so many people come up and say, man, like seeing her stand up out of that wheelchair and hit the ball, you know, is so touching. And hearing, so I'd push her up there, and I'll try to show a video of this in the B-roll if you're watching on YouTube, but I'd push her up there. And while I'm pushing her up there, you know, like I said, it's starting to get competitive. Like, we're getting to that age group where, you know, they think their kids are going pro and stuff like that. Yeah. And so all of them, even the opposing team, was like, come on, Kennedy, let's go, Kennedy. You can, you know, like they were cheering her on too. And so, you know, it made me emotional. And about every time I pushed her up there, I just wanted to ball up and cry like a baby because, you know, just the whole situation. It was so touching, man. And that, like I said, that was just God showing out to just, you know, like, you're not going to make my decisions for me. Sorry, Dad. I'm taking over this one. So
that's awesome.
It was great. But
I can imagine like what y'all are walking, like, cause when we had Walker, so he's 4, so I was 28. We brought him home. Like we went to the hospital, and I remember they told us at this point, she was like 36 weeks, 37 weeks. At the appointments, take your go bag, right?
Yeah.
And so I remember packing a bag. His first kid, never done it before, right? And so it was during COVID too, which was weird. And so I couldn't go into her appointments anymore. I know. We did a lot of weird stuff in COVID.
I agree. I hate COVID, but
so she,
oh well.
You know, I'm sitting up there, I'm in the parking garage, and she texted me and said, my blood pressure is high. So they're going to take me over here to just check it, monitor. And I said, what does that mean? What does that mean?
Yeah. She
goes, I don't know. They said if it didn't come down, then we'll probably stay and have the baby. I'm nervous as heck. You know, she's going up, she's checking in. I can't talk to her.
Yeah.
So I went to the gas station right there next to it because I couldn't go in yet. They were going to get her in a room and then I could come in. And when I got to the gas station, I had to pee. Like, I was so nervous. So I went in and peed. I was getting gas. I was calling my mom, calling my dad, calling her parents. I was calling everybody I could think of, calling Phil. I called everybody I think of. Like, I was nervous.
Somebody just talk to me, please.
You know? I got done filling up with gas. I went back inside the gas station and peed. I peed twice. I was so nervous. True story. And I drove back, and I finally was able to go in, and we had the baby the next day. And my parents couldn't come up. My in-laws couldn't come up. They were like, don't have anybody at your house when you come home. My house was packed when we got home, you know.
We're close-knit family is going to happen. I'm sorry.
And, man, there's no instructions. There's no manual. Like, here you go. It's your kid, right?
Yeah.
You got to put him in the car seat before you leave. I told the lady, I was like trying to, man, you're going to have to help me. She said, I can't, like, you got to do it. And I was like, he's going to go like this if you don't help me. You know, she just help me. And so, like, you just don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Right? It's your first time. Even if you've been around kids, like, now it's yours. Like, it's different. I was driving like 55, you know, coming down the interstate. I'm so nervous, like, everything. All the decisions you make in those next little bit. But then to add on, like, what you went through, like with your kids, like, I can't imagine. I know you've found some community now with different people that have kids, but that's got to be a scary situation.
It was
in general.
Yeah, it was.
So what was the breakthrough there? Did you find some community, or?
It was, you know how like your wedding, like you plan your whole wedding and then your wedding day, it's like a complete blur and you really don't remember
it all. Yeah.
Like that's kind of how the whole process was with Kennedy. Like everything happened so fast once she was diagnosed that we were doing it. We were making decisions, but looking back, it's so blurry, like I know how we done it because we turned to God 100%.
Yeah.
Our church family, God, and community got us through 100%. But looking back, like those decisions, man, I'm like, I don't know how we made any decisions because it was, I mean, it literally is like a blur of that time. And,
wow. Yeah. That's a good one.
like you said, turning to God 100% and praying like everything, we started to do that. One of the hardest decisions that I had to make as a dad. So, a little backstory. Whenever we had Kennedy, I was that dad that was watching YouTube videos on how to change a diaper like a week before she was born. Because I'd never changed a diaper. I'd never done anything. So, like being that type of person of, like you said, having to feed a baby, having to take care of a baby, having to make sure that everything is taken care of for that baby, that they're 100% protected.
Yeah.
When she was diagnosed, we had to make a decision at 10 months old of whether to remove one of her ovaries to freeze it to be put back in later on in life to give her the opportunity to maybe have kids later on in life. So somebody that had no experience with kids.
Yeah.
And, now my daughter I just had 10 months ago, you're wanting me to make a decision of whether she can have kids later on in life, because I didn't know it. Women are born with all the eggs they're ever going to have. And so the chemo and everything that she was going to have to go through to prepare for the transplant was going to basically kill off all her eggs and not give her an opportunity to have kids later on in life. And so, or this is what the doctor said. I know God, determines otherwise.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had to make a decision. We didn't do it because it was going to cause another surgery. MPS kids, whenever they get later in life, some of them aren't independent. And so whether to be able to take on another child or not. And it wasn't guaranteed. Obviously now, if you're a quote unquote healthy human being, like you're still not guaranteed to have a child. So those three factors, and just praying about it, like God lead us in the right direction of what we need to do. And so, you're going back to what you initially asked about how we did it. Like we had to pray through every decision to make it. And that may be like, try to put pieces of the puzzle together, maybe like why it was such a blur, because we wasn't the ones making the decisions.
Yeah.
God was leading us in the correct way to make, the decisions that needed to be made. Cause I mean, nobody's built to be able to take on those kind of decisions, that kind of,
No. And having to do with that quick and right out the gate. I mean, I couldn't, I don't know,
I mean, you just like, it's almost like it's game time. Let's go. Like that's all you can do. And you remember certain aspects of the game, like, a 3 you shot or a pass that you made or somebody dunking, but for the most part, you don't remember every piece of the puzzle that was put together. And man, it was just so,
I think sometimes probably God allows it to be like that too, because you relied on him through some of those things, and there's no sense of always looking back. It's to look forward, So I think part of that's probably some of that too.
There's a reason that the windshield's so big and the rearview mirror is so small. Yeah. Because you just need to glance back and see where you've come from and then keep pushing forward. So you had Walker coming into your life, and then you had Kacen a couple of years. I'm trying to just not speed through the story.
Yeah.
But, how once you had Walker in your life at 2 years of age, and then you learned, was Kacen planned? Was it?
Yeah, he was semi-planned. Like we were planning on having another one. I thought it would take a little bit longer.
Yeah.
When we were like, okay, let's start, trying to have another child, and then, boom, she's pregnant. I'm like, man, I could practice for more,
Oh yeah.
And so found out she was pregnant again. It was different. It was pretty though. So we sold our house and moved into a rental when Abby was probably 30-something weeks pregnant.
Wow.
Which I do not recommend. The market was so good. We now live right next to my in-laws, which perfect. We had some land down there that they had gotten us. They're fantastic. And because they have a bunch of acres, kind of like how I grew up,
Oh, yeah.
And so that was the plan. And then the house popped up for sale. So we're right there next to them. Fantastic. I love it. I love being down there. But we moved in this rental house when the market was going crazy. And Abby was like 30-something weeks pregnant. So like we literally took everything out, sold the house, moved in this little tiny house. The laundry room was underneath the house. Like I had to duck going into this door, and it was like it's like you're in the dungeon.
Oh,
yeah.
And smelling musty and everything.
Yes, that's where the laundry room was. I was like, what have we done? But it was such a blessing, man. It was actually nice being crammed in there. You realize all the stuff that you have that you don't need.
Exactly. Yeah.
And we had a good time. I really enjoyed that house. The shower was terrible. Like the shower head, like he was like to my chest, bro. It's so small.
Looked like Will Ferrell.
Yes, that's exactly what I look like. But so we had Kacen, and it was different, man. You know more now, right? Yeah. Like my first question when Walker was born, like literally, I made sure Abby was good. Is his head gonna stay like that? Because I didn't know. You know, it was like a cone head.
Oh yeah.
So when we had Kacen, it was different. My mother-in-law, my mom was allowed to come in, and you just have more confidence now, because you've been through it. I didn't drive 55; I drove 70 on the interstate. Still safe, but felt better by myself. Walker was pumped about it. It was a cool time, and it was good. Now, as they've gotten older, like as he's gotten older, he had some he has like some skin stuff, so we had to change his form. Some of those things were a little bit different than Walker, but as he's gotten older, his personality and Walker's personality, seeing their personalities is so fun. Like seeing them kind of the kind of person they're going to be. And Walker is very much has my talk to anybody, give somebody a hug, hold the door for somebody, love you. Wants to tell you he loves you. You're his best friend. I'm his best friend. Dalton's his best friend. Everybody's his best friend. Hold your hand. I mean, someone's not getting played with. He's going to play with them.
Oh yeah.
Sweet. But now if you tell him he's in trouble, man, he'll fall. I'm sorry. He just gets down, wants to fix it. That's like more like my wife. And now Kacen, that dude is different. He's just nonstop. He's got to eat.
Yeah.
He loves eating. If you feed him, he's good. He's funny. He's very funny. He'll Hulk smash anything. But man, he's just different. He wants to do it by himself. Don't want you to hold his hand. He just wants to
just like
go.
Lincoln, man.
Yeah, he just wants to go.
So independent, dude.
Yeah. So that sometimes it's frustrating, like we're at Disney World, and like the whole time I'm thinking we can't lose Kacen. He's runs off, does his own thing, and we lose Walker, we went there was it last week, fall break. We lost Walker. It was awful. He was holding the door for. Have you been to Disney?
I have, yeah.
The little treehouse thing?
Yeah.
At Magic Kingdom?
Yeah.
So we get off that. He's holding the door for people to come through. I'm like, Kacen's walking around literally saying Hulk smash like this. Because he was just Hulk at the Halloween thing. So I'm with him. I'm like, Walker, come on. He goes, no, I'm holding the door. Being a good kid.
Oh, yeah.
So I tell Abby, Walker's right there. Well, Mimi and Susan and Mike were there too. So they all start walking this way, and no one has Walker. So immediately everybody's freaking out, like looking around. I went back to the jungle, that little treehouse thing. I was pushing kids out the way, like I got to find them. I'm at the top looking out, nowhere. I get a phone call from Susan or from somebody saying that he's at Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. That's like a far, a quarter mile probably. Yeah. So I take off running, and because everybody's scattered at this point, and I get up to him, and my man is just chilling with this Mexican family that he had found. They found this kid that was just standing there, and he told the kid, my dad's lost. I was lost, not him.
Oh, yeah.
And so he took him up there, and they scanned his band or whatever, and they called Susan, and that's how I found out. And so when I get up there, he's literally in the middle of this family eating their snacks, like telling a joke, like they're all laughing. And my heart's been in my stomach, like. So I run down there, I get on my knees, and I grab him, and he goes, where'd you go? You got lost. And I'm like, no, you got lost, dude, And then Kacen was the one I was worried about, and it was Walker.
Walker
he was just
losing.
Yeah.
when you said, when you got down there to him, that's what I was about to ask. Did you get on your knees and hug him just like
I sure did? Exactly. And he wasn't mad at him. I was just happy he was there. And then Philip made this comment when I was telling him about it. And I mean, I didn't think about it this way, but he had so much confidence that I was going to find him. He never panicked, never cried. And that when he told me that, I was like, that's awesome. I didn't even think about that, but he was like, knew I was coming, knew I'd be there.
And that's stuff that you've instilled here. You was talking about earlier, your kids know 100% without a doubt. Yeah. My dad loves me. Like, my dad's proud of me. My dad's going to take care of me. My dad's going to be there no matter what.
Yeah.
And, that goes a long ways, that you've been present and you've instilled that here at your house and around the community. Travel all the way down to Florida, and he's hanging out with a bunch of people.
Yeah.
My dad's coming. I'm good.
It's funny. But that family came up, and I thanked all them. And the grandma came over. She was talking in Spanish, and I could pick up just bits and pieces.
Yeah.
And the kid like dapped me up, gave me a big hug. Like, he was like, I got him. I was like, my man, And then one of his dad or his uncle came up, and he was like, what she's trying to tell you is that Walker came up to him and he was with him the whole time and stuff. I was like, that's awesome. It was just cool. It was good.
That's one of my biggest worries, man, about Disney. Is
we have those air tags too. Those air tags.
Oh, yeah.
And that was the one day we didn't put the air tags on them. Like, why would we not put them on there?
I seen this is a good little tip, is to cut the little tongue in their shoe and stick it in there right in the front. So, they don't know that it's there and nobody can really find it.
Yeah.
If they come up and, trying to do something bad, but like it's hidden, and that's good. So that's pretty neat little.
Kacen would take his shoes off though.
That's Lincoln. He runs around barefooted all the time.
Don't get hurt either. He's like, Walker, he falls down. He's like, my arm, Kacen falls down with a piece of pizza in his hand on concrete, and he just makes sure that pizza don't hit the ground, gets up, keeps eating. Like, they're just different.
You're in trouble, man.
Yeah.
You're in trouble. We cannot get Lincoln and Kacen together, because it will not be good at all.
It's fun though.
Like, what's one thing that you do being a father that your dad or your grandfather instilled in you that you still put into play? I know you said that you love and you're the rock of the family, like you want to be close knit like your grandfather.
Yeah.
But is there one thing in particular that you can remember that either you learned by watching your dad or your grandfather?
Both. That we do stuff together. Like my granddad, he would always, when he got later in life, he had, I can't remember, one leg was shorter than the other.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a thing way back in the day. And it got worse when he got older. And so there were some things that he couldn't do on the farm. And so he had a little golf cart he'd drive around, and he'd make me go with him.
Yeah.
Like feed the cows, like you separate if one was pregnant, and I wasn't doing anything, but I was with him.
Yeah.
Now I got a little older, I'd do some of the things, but just doing things with him. Same with my dad, man. Anytime we were, we just had something to do. I went with him. He wanted me to go with him.
Yeah.
One, to learn how to do something, or just to be with him to do it. And then spend time together on trips, like my house or my family's house, my house, my uncle's house. It became the place where people came to, right? Instead of me always going, my kids always going off wherever else. People wanted to come over there. And that was always a big thing too. So doing things together, experiences together, we'd go up to Dollywood. Like now you go to Dollywood, it's right here. But when I was in Nashville, it's it's pretty big deal, right?
Yeah. Took a lot more to get there.
Yeah. So going to movies together, going to do different things together. Going to Top Golf now is what we do. Just random things together. So I do that with my boys, right? And I try to, if I'm doing something downstairs, come on, boys, I'll show you. Walker wants to, they get their tools out or whatever. Or we're going to do something, just having them there.
Isn't that the coolest thing though? I think back, my grandfather taught me how to build. He taught me how to wire. He taught me how, do a bunch of stuff. And now Lincoln Kennedy, she don't really care, but Lincoln's right there. He's and I'm teaching him. And that is the coolest feeling, man, to have your son there. You're actually teaching him a lifelong lesson, something that can help him. And I know Walker's just 4 and, he may or may not remember it, but Lincoln now 7, dude, as a dad, like that is the coolest feeling, is to have my son right there and like, this is how you do this, is how, and it goes back in my head back to like my grandfather teaching me how to do that stuff. And I think that's great.
Yeah. And some of the stuff you forget too, like I do a project or something with the house or whatever, because the house we're in now is probably the one we're going to be in, you know. So I'm doing more projects, like little stuff. But I think back to like different things we did at the house with my dad. I'm like, oh yeah, we did this one time, you know, and I start to think about it and I can get this done, you know.
Oh yeah.
But it's fun. Walker's at this age where, man, he's copying. Like he hears everything. He's in pre-K now, so he's learning more, and he listens more. Like, so, like I got to be careful, you know.
Oh yeah.
Like what I say and how I say it, you know, because he listens and he's repeating what I say.
My kids still think "shut up" and "hate" is bad words.
Oh yeah.
And so, like,
if I say "oh my gosh,"
yeah,
I get in trouble.
Yeah,
from Walker, because we don't say that. Sorry, buddy. Oh my goodness, you know.
But I Lincoln, man, I don't know. Hopefully Walker or Kacen gets to this. I'm terrible about, like, if I go to Lowe's, I'll buy, you know, like if I need a light bulb, I'll buy a whole 6-pack. You know, like I just, for whatever reason, I get extras. It's a mile from my house. Like it's a big deal to go back down, but I buy extras. So when something goes wrong, I'm like, oh man, I got to go back to Lowe's and get it. And Lincoln, dude, he is sharp as a tack. He'll be like, no, Dad, we got that over there. You remember this time when we went 2 weeks ago? We got that thing. So he'll go right to it, dude, and bring it out. He saved me so much money and so many trips to Lowe's. It's unbelievable, awesome, dude. So I hope that, you know, Kacen or Walker does that for you, because it's been a godsend.
I think Walker, probably both of them really. Walker, I used to, when they were real little, you could, hey, you know, act right here. We'll get some ice cream later or something, you know, just whatever. And you ain't getting no ice cream later, but they're going to forget, right? They don't forget anymore.
Yeah.
Like I had to take Walker to school one day, 2 weeks ago. I'd take him to school a few days a week, and Abby does the other days. And like a week before, I'd said, hey, next Tuesday, whatever, we'll take the Jeep to school. Well, we're getting in the car. We're already running late because I'm not a morning person. And he goes, hey, Dad, you remember you said next time you're going to take the Jeep to school next? Yeah, buddy, but we can do it. He's like, nope, you said it. No, you said and I was like, so I had to get the car seat out, put it in the Jeep and stuff. Like he's remembering stuff a lot better.
That's how Kennedy is 100%. She remembers everything, dude. And they both, if we get to like that point, no, you said it. Yeah. You lied if you don't do it. And I'm like, you ain't going to call me a liar. Like we're doing it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Man, it's fun though, isn't it?
It is. It's great.
It's tough.
It's it is tough. Like people talk about, you know, tough journeys and everything of that nature. Like one of the hardest parts is being a good parent. Like society tells you not to. Like society wants to drag you away. The phone, the TV, the computer, you know, wants to drag you from being present with your kids and being in their lives. Like, you know, society tells us to put a device in front of our kids, let them watch YouTube and let them learn, you know, through that avenue instead of being a present parent. And man, it's tough. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like it's tough for me to put down my phone, to step away and be present with my kid. Like I have to work at it.
Yeah, I have to work 100%.
At it and, you know, like your phone's, like before we started this podcast, I put my phone on sleep. It ain't going to ring. I don't even know if anybody's called.
Yeah.
I hope to God an emergency hasn't happened, but I want to be present with you. Like that's the same thing I try to do with my kids is when I get home, I want to put the phone away, put it in another room so I don't even hear it, nothing else. And I want to be with them.
And like, I think it's hard. Some people don't understand it really for my job and even your job with what all this stuff you have going on, putting your phone down. It's tough, right? Because all the time people have stuff going on, but that's something that I had to work at it.
Yes,
it has to be intentional, or I can just be over there, you know, checking up, catching back up with everybody, and constantly thinking about something else. And my kids are right here, like, hey, daddy, let's do this.
And you're trying to answer them,
yeah,
like, yes, I understand, like, you know, like, but they see that,
can see that, right? And I don't want them to ever think that they're not important to me.
Exactly.
You know?
That a device is, you know, will pull attention away. That no, my dad pays more attention to his phone. Then I don't want that ever to come out of my kid's mouth. Like, And I try, even like you said, we got a lot of stuff that we have to do. And I understand people have stuff they have to do on their phones. Like, that's not a question. It's not just your own social media. Like, there's emails, there's calls, there's text messages that you have to answer. Like, it's dire to your business. It's dire to whatever's going on. Like, I completely understand that. But one of the things that I try to do is, even if I am answering an important message or whatever, that if one of my kids walks up to me and is like, hey, Dad, like, okay, and turn my attention towards them. Like, now I may say, hang on just a second, and I'll finish whatever I'm typing or doing. But I try 100% to not have a conversation while I'm sitting there typing or talking or whatever. Like, I try to turn my direction and look at them just to let them know that
you're important.
You're important, and I'm paying attention to you. Like, this is off to the side now, and my attention's on you. So, man, I think that's one of the biggest takeaways that people can take is be present in your kids' lives. Like, put down, I keep harping on the phone, but like, that's probably my biggest distraction that tries to pull me away from my wife and kids. And so it's big for me, but other stuff, maybe bars, maybe alcohol, maybe substance abuse, maybe, trips, maybe work, maybe, like whatever. And like, take that away, like, spend time. Cause at the end of the day, that crap doesn't matter.
No. Yeah.
At the end of the day, your wife and your kids is 100% the most important thing. And if you don't, it's just like a daggum car, man. If you don't maintenance it and you don't take care of it, the relationship's going to,
it's going to,
it's going to explode. So
like, I love basketball. When I first moved up here, I'd play like 3 or 4 nights a week, find somewhere to play. Play on Saturdays at the Pro-Am in Knoxville. Like, I don't do that anymore. I pray at 5:30 on Tuesdays and Fridays with some old people. Yeah. And that's okay, because I ain't going to the NBA, but I'm going to be married to my wife for the rest of my life.
Amen. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I go at 5:30 when my kids are still asleep, like, so I'm not missing anything, because that doesn't matter, helps keep me in shape, but so you gotta make time for it, and priorities. People, it's cliche or whatever.
No, I agree 100%.
But it's a fact, and my phone's one of them. That's for me, like, trying to put it down and not look at it, not be distracted by it.
So that real quick before we close it out, it brings up a question. What you just said. So, you did sacrifice your time playing basketball and doing what you was doing so that you can spend time with your wife, with your kids. What is something else like that you do to make sure that your relationship, we've touched on your kids. Let's touch on your wife for just a second.
Yeah.
Like, what's one thing that you do to check in to maintenance? Like, you take your car in for an oil change to make sure that, everything's good and, maintenance wise is good. So let's put that into a marriage aspect. Yeah. Like, what's one thing that you do to check in with your wife, with your marriage, and make sure that that's nurtured as well?
Man, there ain't one thing. It's a fix all.
Well, I agree.
No, my wife, so I told you we're different as far as the words of affirmation and physical touch. She's quality time, acts of service. Yeah. She is she thinks about everything. She's a big thinker, like planner, overthinker. I don't know which one of that is that for y'all.
That's Allie, 100%.
Yeah. And I am where I am, and just it's all good, like we'll figure it out. Yeah. And so we're total opposites there too. So one I pray for every morning.
You sure your name ain't Ryan and Allie?
Yeah.
Like
I figured it was kind of like that, right? And she she overthinks everything or thinks about everything. I don't want to say overthinks about everything, but I'm thankful that she is the planner, right? Because I'd go miss so many things if she wasn't. Like, she has our Google calendar, has everything in there, right? But spending time with her, like, so we have what we do every night is we do our routine every single night. It's pretty much the same. I usually do bath time. She'll come up there too, but she does some other things, and then we put Kacen in bed, usually together, and then Walker comes down with us into our bed, and we used to say 5 minutes, and we put like a 30-second timer on there. He didn't know, but now he knows. So we do like a 5 or 10 minutes where he's with us, and then we put him in bed, and then that's like our time. Where we're together. Yeah. So whether we're watching something, talking about something, whatever it is, like we do it then in that moment. And then she goes to bed way before me. So she goes to sleep, and then she still has like 5 questions that she wakes up and asks me until I go to sleep. But
Just
so
let me go to sleep.
So we have that. No, I'm not going to sleep. I start my own TV show or do my own thing, and I have to pause it. And like, so it's just different. So that we making sure we have that time, that communication. I communicate less at home than she does as far as between us two, because I talk to people all day, every day.
Yeah.
So when I get home, a lot of times I'm just like, whew,
Yeah.
I'm zapped. I just want to be with the kids. I just want to play or do something. Well, that's not fair to her.
Yeah.
That's not fair to my wife. So I have to make sure that I communicate about my day, whatever it was, whatever I need to communicate with my wife. Because I can get in those modes where I'm just like, I don't want to talk. I just want to, I just want to sit here. I just don't want to do anything. And that's not fair to my wife, So making sure I do that. But then when we go places, so like when we go to not Disney, we did do it Disney, but we go to Disney, making sure we spend time even there where it's just me and her.
Yeah.
Like let the kids go play on the splash pad. Like me, not just get on my phone and play a game, like be there with her, talk to her. When we're walking through somewhere and my in-laws have the kids, whatever, having being there, being present with her too.
Exactly.
So I think it's one thing to do it with your kids. Like we say, we're going to put our phones down for our kids. Where as soon as the kids go off or go to bed or whatever, instead of you and Allie spending time or me and Abby spending time, it's just immediately she gets her phone, I get my phone, right? And then I'm not putting that time in there.
Exactly.
So
start texting each other and
yeah.
No, just kidding.
Yeah.
So being present with her.
Just being present with her, spending time. But we're just different. Like we get to a big group of people, and off doing my thing.
Yeah.
But she'll text me. She'll see somebody that's just kind of by themselves or something. I'll get a text, pause up my watch, say, go talk to this person over there. Like she sees things that I wouldn't see.
Oh yeah.
And so I'll just go and, talk to them.
So she's taking care of you.
Oh yeah.
That's Allie and I at our foundation events. Like we're doing everything. And like we don't talk hardly at all through the whole event. Yeah. And then meet back up at the end.
And y'all are both like, oh, just dead.
Too tired to say anything. But no, that's big, man. I think that's huge. Not only just like you said with the kids, but to be sure you're present with your wife as well.
Yeah. And then just getting away and trying to get away. I hate getting away without the kids though. But like even when we do get away with the kids, like still having that time.
Yeah.
When you're away.
I feel so guilty. Like I think Allie and I have taken like 2 trips, just us.
Yeah.
And it's just for a few days, but I feel so like it's that true story. Like, yes, we get away without kids. And then like after the first day, you're like, oh, they enjoy doing that.
Yeah.
Oh, they enjoy doing it. Like you feel so terrible.
Like we got our golf trip this weekend, and like, I'm excited about seeing my dad's coming. I'm excited about seeing him and his buddy and playing with the guys and stuff. But I'm going to miss the kids and miss my wife,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I'm not going to sleep good. I know I'm not going to sleep good. I don't know. It's
you'll
different
be out of your routine with your kids, man. I agree 100%. I don't try to steer away from that.
Yeah.
But like I do in a way, like I just.
Oh yeah. You change your decisions, right?
I want to be with my kids. Like if we're going somewhere or doing something, the guys at work, firemen are terrible about it. Like, hey, let's go out and, hang out and just us guys. And I'm like,
with my daughter and my son.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. Like I want to go home and be with my family.
Yeah.
Like y'all go have your good time. And I know it's hard for people to understand that, but man, I love, like even just my wife, like I love being with my wife, even if the kids are at school or whatever, like just us hanging out. Like, yeah.
I think it comes down to boundaries too, because a lot of people have problems with giving that up, right?
Yeah.
To choose their family. And it's not, you don't have to completely give it up.
Yeah.
But you figure it out and you create boundaries to where you're not spending all this time over here. I play at 5:30 in the morning, like
when
that's not fun,
for the most part.
I'd much rather play when I'm woken up and, but you make decisions like that. You make sacrifices for your family. That's what you're supposed to do.
I agree. Growing up, maturing. Figuring out what matters 100%.
And we're still growing up, right?
Oh yeah. No, I'm a big kid.
Being a dad's hard. And that's something that you can make yourself always question, like, am I doing a good job?
Yeah.
Like, are my kids really learning what they need to learn? You could ask those questions all the time.
That's the devil wanting to try and like, no, you're not doing it. Yeah.
Because there's a million things you ain't doing.
Exactly.
Right? You got to get out of your mind. Just be there with your kids.
Yep. Do it. Be present.
Yep.
So man, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. Is there anything?
Good. I ain't know how long we've been going. Yeah,
I don't either. I kind of glanced at the clock. Is there anything that we didn't hit on that you want our viewers to take home today? One thing that one little nugget that you have that you may be holding on to, or anything of that nature?
Man, I just love on your kids, man. Tell them you love them. Make sure they know. Like, I promise you, Walker's, if you ask Walker who loves you more than anybody, he's going to say me. Yeah. I tell him all the time. Kacen, he'll say Hulk, probably. I don't know. But he will eventually say me too, right? Like, they're going to know, and they're going to think that I think they're the greatest thing. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Because I tell them I'm proud of them all the time, you know?
That's what I told my kids the other day. Lincoln done the pledge at school, is what he told me when he got in the car. And he's like, "Are you proud of me, Dad?" And I was like, "Dude, I'm proud of you. There's nothing you can do that's going to make me more proud. There's nothing you can do that's going to make me less proud. Like, you're going to make me happy. You may make me sad or mad, but I'm proud of you. No matter, you don't have to do anything to make me proud. Like, it's there. You've got that ticket 100% all your life. There's things you can do to make me mad, but
yeah, for sure. Yeah. Disappointed or whatever.
Exactly. But I'm still proud of you. So yeah, that's huge to Walker, be sure your kids know that.
Yeah. Walker's playing soccer, as we just finished out his first year ever playing soccer. And he had his last game Monday, and we just do like skill stuff, and they play like 4-on-4. He didn't score. And so, but I told him before, I was like, "Man, this is your last soccer, go play your best." He goes, "You want me to score?" I was like, "I mean, sure, yeah, score. I just want you to play hard." So he didn't score. And so we get in the car after, and he's like, "Dad, I'm sorry I didn't score." I don't care, bro. Did you have fun today? Like, he's like, "Yeah," because I was out there with him. He's like, "Yeah, I had fun." I was like, "Dude, you played so good. You played hard the whole time.
Yeah.
You were into it. You didn't you didn't have your jersey over your head or whatever the whole time, or rolling around the whole time. Like, you were listening to the coach. You were, you did all these things. You made some really good passes." I was like, "I'm proud of you." Like, it was awesome. And then he switched, like, "Yeah, I scored last time, so I thought I would just pass today." Like, okay.
Be a team player.
Yeah.
Ain't no I in team.
Yeah, but, I just want him to know, like, you scoring is not what I'm proud of. You scoring is not, you did awesome. Like, you do awesome no matter what. Just get out there and
from a sports aspect, like, you're almost more proud of your kid for being a team player rather than, you know what I mean? Like,
he don't know. Yeah. He just said that because I told him he passed good,
I was trying to give him some help, No. So if our viewers want to go and connect more with you, man, and dive deeper with you, is there anywhere that they can go to get in touch with you?
Yeah. My email is tyler@ilovemygrove.com. You can go to ilovemygrove.com, the website, and check out some of my messages and stuff. But yeah, you can email me there.
This was awesome, man. I'm so proud and so glad that you was here and had a great time, man. So thank you so much.
It's been awesome.
Yeah.
Appreciate you having me on.
Guys, go connect more with Tyler, learn more, dive deeper. If you just want him to pray for you, I know 100% that he would just lend that helping hand as well. So go connect with him and tell him you seen him on the Dad Show. With that, you can find the Dad Show on all social media outlets at the Dad Show Podcast. As always, we love you. We thank you. We're proud of you. Have a blessed day. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to the Dad Show Podcast. Please like, review, and subscribe.